Hello, and welcome to an elaborate battle between me and my friend Whaley on chess.com. It was a 2 week long match, which lasted longer than 2 weeks, but each person had 2 weeks on their clock. Um, Me and Whaley have been waiting to play one-on-one, something like this, not like bullet chess or anything, for quite some time now. And I think it was a really nice game. Whaley, I won't spoil the game, but it was a very, very fun game. Alright. So let's just get into it. So I open up with the Niemel-Schütz-Larsen attack, my common opening. You'll see this probably in a lot of my games. Whaley played d5. I played bishop b2, Fion chettling the dark squared bishop. He played knight to c6. I'm just trying to dominate the center while I'm just trying to keep my a nice little diagonal on here, try and go for some tricks, which didn't happen in this game because he's too smart for that. But yeah, I played knight g to f3, trying to take hold of the center myself. He moved his light squared bishop to f5, just trying to once again control the center. I pushed e3, trying to get my light squared bishop into the game. Also going to try and pressure these two, maybe eventually. Pushes f6, further centralizing his pawns. I attack the bishop. He moves back, and I move my bishop into the game, trying to assert my own dominance into this game, which has been very minuscule, if anything. He moved the queen to d7, which I probably should have tried to capitalize on, but I just castled, and he castled as well. And I push c4, trying to knock this loose pawn. Not really loose, actually, because it's supported three-way. He attacks my bishop, so I move it back, trying to get his really good knight there out. He captures, I capture, he captures with the bishop. I attack his queen, he moves back, captures, and queen b3. I'm just trying to trade off my queen. If he doesn't trade, then I'm taking his knight or his queen, so it's basically forced here. Well, not quite forced. I could like if he decided to do this, then it wouldn't be much of a problem. But because yeah, that wouldn't be great at all. So so I capture with the pawn, and he pushes a6. I push d4, trying to assert my dominance as I have gotten rid of all his pieces in the center here. And he plays a pretty passive move, but it's all part of his plan to develop this bishop here. And yeah, I move to f3. He applies pressure to the h2 square. I ignore this and push knight to c3. The knight attacks my bishop, basically forcing me to trade, because going here just like if I were to just stay there and let's just push h3. He just moves here, or well, I won't do that, of course. It'd still be the same thing. But now he has, I have double knights, and he just has a dark square. But I prefer to get them. I prefer to get them off the board. So I trade my bishops, and now he pushes his knight to e7. I remaneuver my knight, also offer a trade. He declines with knight to b4. I try and force him, and he just he offers a trade of his own, which I also decline, but also try and take his. He declines, and I mean, yeah, if I were to capture here, then it would just further make his pawn structure, it would make it better. And all I'd have to do is push that, and this is nothing, and I'm attacking here. Or well, no, I'm sorry, I'm being stupid right now. Probably would have been a good idea. Although you'd go here, I'd go here, and it's equal It's equal on the board. Albeit I'm up, or I'm down. So he moves back. I move knight to f3. He moves h6, just further attacking my really weak king side, as it's not really looking that great. I haven't really developed any pawns over here, just have this little pawn chain over here. Well, he has these two very powerful knights over here, which my knights are awful. I can't push here, offer trade, because it's doubled. I can't push anywhere around here. I guess I could try and go for this, but he'd probably prevent that somehow with maybe this. I was mostly worried about what if he pushes, what if you were to push this? If he pushes b5, then I was going to go for this. And this is what I was preparing for him. And at that point, I probably expect him to go something like here. Which, did I just grab a pawn? So I knew that wasn't really going to happen much, but I was still afraid that that was a possibility. I moved back as a waiting move, trying to get back into the game. And f5 is played, which I really couldn't do much about that. I probably should have pushed something like this before, but that was long past. Only noticing this now. I pushed f4, which in retrospect wasn't a great idea, because he captures with the knight, which really weakened my pawn structure, like, greatly. And also it attacks my rook, so I have to move that. Trying to apply more pressure to him. Moves his rook. I maneuver my knight into some fixed positions here. He maneuvers, I'm sorry, I have a cold right now. He removes his knight to e7, I move to e5, trying to just maybe get some action over here, if possible. And he miraculously offers a knight trade, which either I take or I take it on his terms. Suppose I could do something like this. But this would just completely end any ideas of anything like this, so it was probably better that I went through with that here. So, pawn captures knight, and rook to d2. Knight to f5, and I support the knight with the pawn, this pawn, with this, which, I mean, yeah, you can't capture it obviously because it's double supported by the rooks. If he did that, just be up a piece, and this would be, it would be equalized, but only because he has a his pawns are beautiful. They're very strong, although it does have some double pawns over here. But this will just be completely dominating. If he gets his king and rook into there, that'd be a very beautiful endgame for him. But obviously he wouldn't want that because after all, this is a much better position for him. At this point, I'm doing pretty poorly. I'm just trying to support everything I possibly can. So knight to b4. He doubles rooks on the d file, and I support this with this beautiful move. Of course, with this he could do something like this, and then my idea would be completely pointless, because now it's supported by this rook here, see? And I couldn't do that, because then it'd be rook captures, and I would be very bad there. So yeah, I remove the knight, he pushes c5, offers a trade in the center, which obviously I can't take because of this, which is just awful for me. So I push, oh crap. Yeah, so I push to c4, attacking his piece here. He pushes b6, and I move b4. Moves his king over. Now, he talked about this special variation that I can't remember off the top of my head. It's basically another way he could win a whole pawn by going over here with some of his pawns. It's very weird. I'd show it to you, but it's I don't remember it. I'm sorry. I haven't really prepared much for this. So, forgive me. I capture. He captures, and captured the rook. So now he's up a pawn, only a pawn. But I still have this here. He can't capture. Otherwise, it's just. Well, I mean, he could. And he's back to the way it was, but that's not what happened in the game. He allowed for he decided to try and trade rooks, which wouldn't end well for me at all. It just what can I do? Let's say I just start trying to bring my king into the game. He could just capture. not that order. Oh no, he wouldn't do that, obviously. So he brings the pawn in. If I capture here, then this is horrible for me. And if not, then captures. He's up a rook. So he just starts moving his king, trying to not trying to because he's successful in doing so, but moving his king to support. I push d5, which he probably did the best move possible for this, which I applaud him for, as I really prepared hard for this idea. He captures with the rook. If you captured with the pawn, this would be met with capturing the knight. As you can see, that would be simply horrible for him. If he decided to let it exist and start pushing this, then, and this is now a passed pawn, and it must be dealt with. There's no other way for it to be done. Say, I do something like this, or he does some, no, wait. Let's say he, because his knight, once again, is under attack. He'd have to do something like this. But at this point, it's equalized, and this comes with check, and I just won a pawn. And, all of his moves would lead to something horrible. Yeah, let's say he moves here. I just start with some, well, there's also the fact that if I capture here, his rook's hanging. So yeah, it's not looking too great for him. So he does the go back to where I was. And then next move. Yeah. So he captures with the rook, which is the best option that he had, and also the only option. So I capture with the rook, he captures with the pawn, I capture with the rook, he captures knight, I capture knight, and I'm up a piece, or no, actually, he's up a piece, and, counting. And now he starts pushing his passed pawn, which I made a horrible blunder. I don't know why I decided to do this. I just went for his pawns over here. Captures. And then he I realized my huge mistake after this. And my idea was, well, what if he tries just pushing the pawn? Well, then I'll meet it with e4, and he'd have to do some really good moves to be able to save the pawn. Example, that he obviously couldn't do this because that's just losing a rook. He couldn't do this because that's just losing a queen. So, and I'm up in the on the king side over here. And so the only moves would be to move his king and try and save it, which he could do this, I suppose. But I'd meet that with something like, yeah, I can't do that yet. I just have to do something to prevent that from being checked. Which, I guess, but So he could do that, but you could also do something like moving the king. But once I do this, it's basically over. There's nothing you could do. There's not much you could do, because this is just gonna be, you still can't move that. Start trying to get in there, capture here, move here, capture, 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 and once he moves here, he's always going to be guarding here, because if he goes over here, then just simply he can't do anything about it. You could try and bring his king over here, but once I push here, there's nothing you could do from getting the queen. And I suppose, yeah, that's enough of that line. So, he put me in check. Once I moved here, he put me in check. I moved to h2, and he started pushing his pawn. I gave him check. Moved to h6. He got queen, and I took it out. And he's up a rook, but I'm up a pawn, and it's not looking good at all for me at this point. I can't do anything like this, because then it's just some really bad stuff for me, because, well, I'm just getting all up in, he's getting all up in my business and everything. So he moves his king. I move my king, try and prevent him from coming over, but he just walks on in. Captures. King moves, I move. King moves, I move. I can't move here. You'd think I'd be able to move here, but I can't, because this comes with check. Then just some really nasty stuff that I really can't prevent at all. And I was, at this point, I knew it was over. He could capture whatever. So I move back. If I move up, then yeah, I showed you the last. So I move down, he captures, and I try a few more tricks. Get my king around, and he captures. And what follows is me trying to stalemate myself. He goes for some rook checkmates, which lead me to this, which was also a terrible blunder, for I should have moved there. For I can't move up at all. And if I were to move down, then it'd just be worse. So he comes over, tries to harass me some. He moves the rook over. And then he starts pushing his pawn, as I cannot move here, because then it's checkmate in one. If I move here, then the bishop, then the rook moves down. No squares to go up as the king blocks it. So it's in this position that I give him a very beautiful rook checkmate, and I end the game on a good note as he moves and checkmates me by moving rook h1 checkmate. So yeah, it was a great game. I could have resigned a lot earlier, but I decided to give him a win because, well, checkmates are always a lot more satisfying than the resignation or abandonment or losing on time, anything like that. And it was fun. I had a lot of fun trying to figure this out, as it was weeks that we had to play this, and it took a lot of preparation. So yeah, beautiful game. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.